I don't know about you guys, but it feels like the vibes are pretty high in Baltimore right now. And I get it. You started this season off 1-5. You still have a lot of work to do until you are in playoff contention, until you are in the lead of the AFC North. There's a lot of work left. But still, where things are sitting right now, November 6th, 2025, things are looking good, especially for Sunday's game against Minnesota. I'll tell you what I mean in just a second. Before I do, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because all season long, we're battling Steelers Talk, our Steelers Chat Sports channel. And right now, we're only down 15 subscribers. Not bad at all. Okay, I need 20 diehard Ravens fans to hit that sub button. If you hate the Steelers, if you love the Ravens, and if you love daily content, help us get in the lead and take down Steelers Talk. We got a double dose of great news to get to, starting off with every single Ravens player was at practice this week. Do you guys know how rare that is? Like, are you kidding me? The Ravens tweeted this out yesterday, and I was absolutely lit. It said the Ravens had no injuries to report on Wednesday. Every player was a full participant. I mean, how beautiful is that? Those are the two sentences every single football fan wants to hear. And I think we can especially appreciate it because we're only 5 weeks removed from the Ravens injury report looking a little bit like this. I mean, that's got more words than the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. You had Chidobe Awuzie on there, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson, Travis Jones. Like, it wasn't just players. It was the heavy hitters, the Lamars, the Hamiltons, the Kyle Van Noys, the Ronnie Stanleys, the Nate Wiggins, the Dafe Owais, R.I.P. Guys, this is such a critical part of this game. Health is. And a lot of times, that's just going to be a straight-up luck thing. So I'm going to take this luck as we're getting it. And it is so rare to have this in November as well. Like, it's one thing to have no players on the injury report at any point in the season, but especially once you are 10 weeks through. Especially when you have the outlook on the rest of this year, like your bye week is over. You need as much health as you possibly can going into the final 2-month stretch. Especially this year because you're going to have to be coming back from a pretty large deficit that you put yourself in the AFC North. I mean, just look at last year. This was the injury report from pretty much this exact same time frame. October 30th, a week before in 2024. You had Marlon Humphrey on there. You had Lamar Jackson on there. Travis Jones on there. Brent Urban, Broderick Washington, Nate Wiggins. This can change in an instant. I get that. I understand that. It can change today at practice. It can change Sunday against Minnesota. But for what it is right now, I will take it. Because frankly, you don't have good enough depth to be dealing with injuries either. Like, that's the funny part about this. Is I feel like you could look at the last couple of years and it could be a little bit of a different story, especially when you talk about the defensive line. Like, you could use, well, not use, you could never use injuries, but you could say, you got a couple injured defensive linemen, it's okay, you got really good depth. You don't really have that this year. You don't have that at all in any position, I would argue you, especially on the defensive line. So you need everybody out there. You need everybody fully healthy because the drop-off in 2025 from starter to backup is massive. And you've also got 4 games coming up on your schedule. All 4 of those are very, very winnable. And with this team fully healthy, you've got a good shot to go 4-0. Minnesota, they're at 500. You are playing them in US Bank Stadium, but I've got a reason why I think you can win that game. Stay around, stick around, stay tight. I don't know. Whatever. Cleveland Browns are 2-6. You got to win that ball game. New York Jets are 1-7, and they just sold their 2 best players. Got to win that ball game. Cincinnati Bengals, they are 3-6. Got to win that ball game. It's going to help that you have a fully healthy roster. What do you think the Ravens' record is through these 4 games? You let me know in the comment section down below. And I'm about to tell you about our sponsor at Prize Picks, but don't go anywhere because I'm going to tell you exactly why Lamar Jackson is going to have a field day against Minnesota in just a second. But if you want to have a field day every single game day, then download the Prize Picks app. Use our code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Lamar Jackson pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Here's my Prize Picks lineup for Sunday's game. Give me the more on Lamar Jackson, 37.5 yards longest completion. Give me the more on J.J. McCarthy, 16.5 rushing yards. And Derrick Henry, I feel like he's going to be utilized in the pass game at least once or twice. Give me the more on 2.5 yard longest reception. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. The second dose of great news is one that I kind of has realized the more film I'm watching from Minnesota, the more I'm getting locked into Sunday's game, is Lamar Jackson matches up perfectly facing off against the Vikings, and specifically against their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, because he is a guy that absolutely loves to send the blitz. He does it at a higher rate than anybody else in the National Football League. And it's funny because this is not going to be the first time Lamar Jackson is playing Brian Flores, and one of the last times he's played him, back in 2021, not the last time, but one of the more recent times, it did not go well for Lamar. The blitz percentage for Miami was 54.9 that day. They had a 41.2% quarterback pressure rate. 4 sacks. Lamar's completion percentage was 60%. He had an interception as well. And in that game, Javon Holland and Brandon Jones combined for 38 blitzes, which is more times than any defensive back in a game since 2016. So Javon Holland blitzed 21 times. Brandon Jones blitzed 17 times. Combined for 38, each of those guys blitzed more than any quarterback or defensive back in the 5 years prior. And, no, Lamar Jackson, this Baltimore Ravens team, they haven't forgotten that game. In fact, John Harbaugh just talked about it yesterday. He said, we certainly remember that game. That was something we even talked about before the game, Thursday night a little bit. It definitely was a key game in the evolution of the offense for sure. Not only did they blitz a ton, but they also held Lamar Jackson to only 10 points for this Ravens offense. Well, Brian Flores has not changed over the last 4 seasons. The Minnesota Vikings still lead the league in blitz rate at 42.3%. They are dead last for light boxes, 31.3%, and they are highest in heavy boxes at 35.4%. A heavy box is when you have pretty much 7 or more players inside this little box that's basically meaning you loaded it up for run defense. But it doesn't look generic when it comes to Brian Flores. He likes to have a ton of simulated pressures, and off those simulated pressures, he has very exotic blitzes. Here's a little bit of a look at what a simulated pressure under Brian Flores looks like. He pretty much lines up everybody like you got 7 down defensive linemen. You can see them in that rectangle right there. In this case, it's 8 down defensive linemen. Now, they play zone coverage at a very, very high rate. So it looks like that's going to be man coverage from the cornerbacks, but in reality, a lot of these linebackers or even defensive linemen, they're going to drop back into zone coverage, and one of the safeties is going to run to the deep half of the field. He did it in in Miami as well. Here's a picture from that time. You got 4 defensive backs pretty much in a line along the 30, and then if you look at the 23-yard line, you got 7 defensive players. You don't know who's blitzing. You don't know where it's coming from. Again, another look from Minnesota. This one, he's got more defensive backs deeper than he usually does. He's got 5 that are deep, but he still loads 6 players on the defensive line. It is so hard for a quarterback to detect what is the pre-snap coverage look and who is going to be blitzing, because it changes up every time. Don't believe me? Hear from Patrick Ricard when he talks about it. It can definitely be confusing, especially how they bring blitzes from all over the place. It's not just one guy. You'll play team, and it's this guy is the guy who always blitzes. For them, they blitz everybody. Like we told you earlier, Javon Holland had 17 blitzes against the Baltimore Ravens in 2021. Now, where's this great news, Joey? Because what you've talked about so far, it just seems like that's not that great. Well, Lamar Jackson against the blitz this year leads passer rating across the National Football League. 136.4. First. Against Miami on Thursday Night Football about, 7 days ago, a week ago. He had an 81.8% completion percentage, 90 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, all against the Blitz. And since 2023, he has been the best quarterback against it over anybody in the National Football League. He's been blitzed 394 times since 2023. His completion percentage is over 66%. He's thrown for 3,200 yards, 9 yards per attempt, 26 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. He's been sacked 26 times only out of 395 blitzes, and he has a quarterback rating or a passer rating over 112.0. Those are elite numbers. And so, yeah, Brian Flores and this Vikings defense can look a little bit scary because of what they do to you, because of how exotic these looks are and how good of a defensive coordinator Brian Flores is. I'm fine in saying that. I love Brian Flores as a defensive mind. But the good thing is you've got a guy running this offense at the quarterback position who matches up better than anybody in the NFL. Predict Lamar's stat line against Minnesota down below in the comment section. Give me yards, touchdowns, interception. If you want to add another one in there, go ahead. Give me completion percentage as well. For the rest of today's show, the last couple of minutes, I'm going to look at position group by position group, tell you who has the edge in this matchup. We're going to start with head coach, though. I will give that edge to the Minnesota Vikings. Look, I know you guys probably agree with me. John Harbaugh, does he have a schematic advantage over any other head coach in the National Football League? I don't think he does. He's not that great of a game manager, and it feels like his message has grown stale. So, KOC is one of the best offensive minds in football. I give them the edge at head coach. Quarterback, I'm going to go Ravens here. We don't really need to talk much about it. Lamar Jackson, J.J. McCarthy, that's not even really a contest. Running back, I'm going to go Baltimore as well in this situation. Jordan Mason's having a really good year. He's a great thumper. And, Derrick Henry is taking a little bit of a step back from what he did last year, but still, he had a great game against Miami, and I think he's only going to start ramping that up. The wide receiver room, this one's going to go in favor of the Minnesota Vikings because they've got Jordan Addison. They've got Justin Jefferson. They've got some studs in that room. I mean, just look at the production they've had in 2025, some elite wide receivers. And Jordan Addison's numbers might look down, but you also got to remember he had to serve a 3-game suspension at the beginning of the year for a DUI that he got charged with in 2024. So, wide receiver room, I'm taking Minnesota. Even though I love DeAndre Hopkins, love Zay Flowers, give me the Vikings. Offensive line, I'm going to go Vikings as well. Look, this Ravens offensive line is not good. Plain and simple. They've struggled all year long. I've got a sneaking suspicion they're going to continue to struggle throughout the rest of the season. Regardless, we thought something should have changed in the trade deadline. It didn't. Give me Minnesota over the Ravens when it comes to offensive line. Defensive line, I'm going to go in the same breath. Look, Draymond Jones, I thought he was an exciting addition. I'm going to have to see it from him. You don't have a lot of depth in the interior. Your second best defensive lineman on the inside is Brent Urban. Need I say more? Love Brent, but he's a depth piece for anybody else in the league at best, especially with Minnesota. Linebackers, I'm going to go Minnesota as well. Roquan Smith, I've just struggled to see consistency out of him this year, and so I'm going to give the nod to Minnesota, even though Teddy Buchanan's been playing some really good football. Cornerbacks, I'm going to go with the Ravens here. Minnesota's cornerbacks are easily their biggest, question mark when it comes to what they do defensively. You're going to be able to have those guys, or you're going to be able to have those guys, I should say, if you're a Ravens wide receiver. And safeties, I'm going to go Baltimore as well. Look, if you got Kyle Hamilton on the football field, I'm going to go Ravens every single time. Malachi Stark seems like he's finally playing some good football. He has an incredibly high PFF grade from his Thursday night game against Miami. Got his first interception. Alohi Gilman, since he's come into town, he's been really, really good and has been able to allow Kyle Hamilton to be a free-flowing player. He's in the box. He's in the slot. He's on the defensive line. He's everywhere. And I believe outside of Myles Garrett, maybe TJ Watt, I think Kyle Hamilton's the best player in football. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel, youtube.com/RavensTV.